perhaps transferring their children to different schools, which again is a cost they did not anticipate. How will the government work about this to ensure that every child remains in school?
Michelle, I don't think any parent will be advised to transfer their children to any other school. Because number one, we do not have a shortage of classrooms. Yeah? We have, in every primary school, we have an extra classroom for grade 7 to go to. That's number one. We are sorting out the teachers. We are sorting out the curriculum. That's all in place. The only thing that is going to be pending, and we intend to have a conversation with our members of parliament, is to build for them within 1 year a laboratory. Yeah? In fact, it is possible to convert some of the extra classrooms that were already built into laboratories. And it is possible for schools that share the same compound with the secondary schools for the grade 7 to carry out their laboratory work in the secondary school. So we have all manner of permutations to make sure that we sort out this transition. I am not saying it is going to be, I'm not saying it's an easy thing, but I want to promise you it's doable. You know, we have all hands on deck. You know, everybody is working seamlessly, and I want to thank also our members of parliament. They are very keen to support this transition with their allocation of CDF.
Mr. President, as you transition to the next topic, on that education matter, you're talking about bringing together the University Fund, TVET Fund, and Helb. According to the current budget, the University Fund has been allocated 91.2 billion shillings, or rather, University Education, sorry. Helb, 15.8 billion shillings. TVET capitation 5.2 billion shillings. And I'm just wondering, even if you put the body that is financing students together with the body that is financing these institutions, at the end of the day, it's a question of resources. So how does that resolve if your government cannot allocate revenue?
Already, we are pushing the resources that are available for Higher Education Loans Board, you know, to 21 billion. Yeah, that will be reflected shortly. We are also working with the investor, and that's why I made it a subject of the Presidential Working Party, because we need some candid talk and firm decisions on how many students should we admit. Yeah, how many students can we fund? And how much money can the bursary we have, how many students can the bursary we have support? You know, so that we don't send students to a college or a university and there is no commensurate financing to support their education. You know, it is just basic logic. So this is the conversation that we need to have. And in my opinion, it should be possible, as you place a student, you must also know, is there funding for the education of that child? And is there supporting bursary to make sure that that child finishes that?
But we have situations, Mr. President, where universities like Mount Kenya University will have more students in the School of Medicine than the University of Nairobi. What's your take on Helb supporting students in private universities more than those in public universities?
That's the conversation we're going to have.
Ultimately, Mr. President.
That's the conversation we are going to have, because we need to interrogate, you know, how feasible is it for government to support so many students with little money instead of supporting the number of students that they can with adequate resources to make sure that they get the correct training. So that's the conversation we're going to have. And we're going to have it with public universities, and we're going to have that conversation even with the private universities. And possibly we could, where we are not able to finance, we have to be honest with ourselves. Let me give you a practical situation, Michelle. We have students in academies. They pay 100,000, 200,000 a term, right? All through, from standard 1 to form 4. But when they go to university, we want to tell them we can pay for all of them. Why? If a parent is able to pay for their child in primary and in secondary, why don't we allow them to pay for their child in university? So that we support the children of the people who cannot afford. Why, for example, would my daughter or son of William Ruto be given bursary in the university when William Ruto can afford? Or for that matter, Ken Michungu here, or James Matt. You know, I'm sure that you guys can. So we really have to be honest.
Mr. President,
we really have to,
allow for me to ask this question.
We really have to be honest with that, and I'm sorry if I say.
No, that's an interesting conversation.
We really have to be honest with ourselves.
Right.
That let those who can afford pay.
Okay.
We're positive.
Let those who cannot afford, let us think of how do we support them, rather than pretending that we are able to support all the children, even when we are not in the position to.
Mr. President, can Michungu allow me to come first?
Okay.
Are you telling me Michungu wewe huwezi kulipia mtoto wako kwa university?